Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. Today we'll be continuing our journey through the Cthulhu mythos and talking about possibly the most powerful of all Lovecraft's deities, Sothoth. This omniscient and all-powerful outer god has been summoned a number of times in works of fiction, but what if it was actually real? Let's explore. If you want more what if videos, check out our biggest what ifs playlist on the channel. Now get ready, it's time to ask the question, what if Sothoth was real? First, it should be stressed just how powerful Sothoth would be. Sothoth is one of the outer gods, who are essentially the gods of the old gods. In a way, the outer gods are to Cthulhu as Cthulhu is to a human. However, it gets even worse because Sothoth is one of the most powerful of the outer gods, so you do not want to get on his bad side. The name of Sothoth was first found in Lovecraft's The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. It is an all-knowing, all-seeing, and all-powerful being said to exist at all points in time simultaneously. It's the embodiment of all of time and space across the multiverse. Sothoth is the grandfather of Cthulhu and grandson of Azathoth, although Sothoth is deemed by many to be even more powerful than its grandfather. For more on Azathoth, check out our video entitled What if Azathoth was real? These names are getting confusing. Too many Thoths. I'll be using the name of Sothoth quite a bit for the rest of the video, so to save my sanity and yours, I'll use nicknames from now on. As with many works of Lovecraft, physical descriptions of Yagurs are kept rather vague. This is largely because humans wouldn't even be able to perceive it properly, a common trait among Lovecraft's monsters. This inconceivable appearance causes it to be described rather differently by various people, but there are some similarities. For example, it's generally seen as a large number of glowing spheres constantly merging and breaking apart. Sometimes tendrils are involved, as is common in these disturbing tales. As with other Lovecraftian gods, it's believed that viewing Yagi Baby would cause a person to go insane. However, in this case, it's said that even learning too much about it can lead one to insanity. And I can personally vouch for that. After having researched and written several Lovecraft videos thus far, I'm starting to feel a little insane myself. Despite its incredible power, the Yawgmeister has been summoned by humans several times in fiction, in order to complete a variety of tasks. It's used similarly to genies and demons in folklore. Interestingly, the Yawgman is sometimes seen as benevolent, choosing to help those who request it, which is a departure from other creatures from the Cthulhu mythos that tend to either want to take over humanity or just don't give a damn. For example, in the Dunwich Horror, a 1928 short story by Lovecraft, Sothoth was summoned by a crazy man in order to impregnate his mortal daughter, to create monstrous offspring. In Lovecraft's The Haunter of the Dark, it was summoned by protagonist Robert Blake to save him from the entity he had inadvertently released. Furthermore, it was implied in the case of Charles Dexter Ward that he can be called to revive the dead, since incantations for raising the dead included the name of Sothoth. The outer god was even in the Doctor Who episode The Snowman, known in this case as the Great Intelligence. It helped the young Walter Simeon to gain power, forming something of a symbiotic relationship. All this is to say that it has been called upon to perform a wide variety of things, and could likely be used for even more if it was in the mood. Given the incredible things you could do with an all-powerful god at your side, if it was real, it's likely that people would continue to attempt to summon the beast, in hopes of using it to their own ends. This can either go very well for them, or very badly. If it worked, and Yog the Bounty Hunter was as benevolent as some stories told, then rituals for summoning the being would be incredibly valuable. If you have an omnipotent god helping you to reach your goals, there isn't a whole lot you can't do. Societies would spring up that worshipped the Yogster and attempted to use its power to their advantage. It's unclear how Yog Dog would decide who to help. It could be that it would help anyone who asked. It could be that it would be more likely to help those who were more in need, as in the case of Robert Blake. It could also be that the ritual itself would impact its decision as to whether or not to help its summoner, depending on the proper words or a valuable sacrifice. Regardless, if it did begin to help those who called it, we might see some incredible supernatural events occurring. If you managed to successfully summon the Yog machine, it would be like finding Aladdin's lamp. If you were on its good side, you could have just about anything you wanted. Money? Easy. Fame? Everyone loves you. Want to fly? No problem. Want good looks? Well, there are limits. If a religion sprung up that made promises of supernatural gifts and incredible success and was actually able to deliver on these claims, it could be that many people, both religious and irreligious, would move over to this new religion. However, that's not to say that it would always go well. Given Clifford the Big Red Yog's propensity to turn onlookers insane, it could be that you would unintentionally go insane just from trying to summon it. Furthermore, if he found your wish or your ritual to be lacking, you could well face some serious punishment. And we're not talking about a slap on the wrist. Punishment from Yagi Boy could mean an eternity of torture. So while you could definitely benefit from summoning the beast, the risk would be rather significant. And now we return to our question, what if Sothoth was real? Well, this would depend largely on whether or not it was inclined to help. If it was, it could be that we would start to see people around the world suddenly come into great wealth and power, or show incredible abilities. Whatever one might wish for, we would possibly begin to see more often. However, if it was not inclined to help people, either due to its personality or insufficient need or sacrifice, we might not see much of a change in the world, other than the odd disappearance when a ritual went wrong. The question is, would the risk be worth it?
Cosmic Horror. The stuff of legend, the terror you could never hope to understand. Formless, shapeless, ageless, these are the beasts that cannot be stopped, cannot even be slowed. In fact, they can't even be effectively compared to anything other than other cosmic creatures. Such is the life of a Lovecraftian atrocity. And of course, what could be scarier than a monster that knows everything that you could never hope to know anything about? Hello fellow friends and philosophers, and welcome back to the most mind-bending channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. I'm your voice in the void, Keegan Hughes, and today we're asking a question that will bring answers that we can only see the gauzy, shadowy outlines of. What if Sothoth was alive today? We've discussed the implications of him existing in the past, and now we're trying to figure out what kind of impact he would make floating about in 2020. The consequences would indeed be heavy. Before we get started here, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more Lovecraftian inquiry. Outstanding, let's begin. If you're unfamiliar with Sothoth, fret not, I'll do my best to get you up to speed as soon as possible. Born of the nameless mist, he is a cosmic entity and outer god. He exists far outside the confines of Earth and the solar system, even thought of as being outside the universe itself. Any influence felt from Sothoth is coming from way far off, and any instance folks lay eyes upon is only a small representation of the true being. As such, he tends to appear in many different ways. Depending on the author depicting this entity, he can appear as a mass of glowing orbs, a tentacle-covered atrocity, a clump of eyes and other fleshy bits, and more. Again, all of these could be correct depictions, representations of different parts of Sothoth manifesting in various parts of the universe. On the topic of the universe, you should probably also know that Sothoth can see all of it, all the time, for all eternity. All at once. There's no hiding secrets from him, so don't even try. A quote from the Dunwich Horror, a story where Sothoth plays a major role, reads, Sothoth knows the gate. Sothoth is the gate. Sothoth is the key and the guardian of the gate. Past, present, future, all are one in Sothoth. He knows where the old ones broke through of old, and where they shall break through again. He knows where they have trod Earth's fields and where they still tread them, and why no one can behold them as they tread. If it's happened, or will happen, you can count on Sothoth knowing all about it. Even old ones can't escape his all-seeing eyes. Seeing all this stuff provides Mr. Sothoth with plenty of knowledge, and he isn't too shy about sharing it. You would think an outer god might be above providing us lowly humans with information, but you'd be wrong. If you know the right incantations and rituals and other assorted rites, it's possible to summon him. Doing so can result in a lot of different things. Some folks want assistance in performing occult deeds or rituals, like resurrecting folks from the dead. Others want to bring forth additional monstrosities into the world through the impregnation of human females with cosmic beings. If you've read the Dunwich Horror, you'll recognize that move. Some people reach out to Yagi just to learn forbidden secrets of the universe. However, as we are insignificant, primitive beings, the knowledge gained in these exchanges is probably not good. Most mortals are driven mad by Sothoth's presence, and those with enough fortitude to withstand that will be likely sent to the loony bin by whatever knowledge is imparted. If by some miracle the scholar of the dark arts can withstand all of the above, then they can use it to cause disaster. Because what else would you do with cosmic knowledge? Build a hospital? Give to charity? Solve world hunger? No. Destruction and the flaying of minds. Of course, acquiring knowledge like this means that you've got to make some sacrifices, like your ever-living soul or a whole bunch of human lives. You know the deal. So now we have an abridged version of the general shape of knowledge surrounding Sothoth. All-knowing, outside our universe, willing to share some forbidden knowledge in exchange for a few cracked eggs, progenitor of Cthulhu, Hastur, Wilbur Whately. Very nice. But what if Yogchamp was alive today? What would happen if the lurker at the threshold spent some time in our mortal realm? Well, a whole lot of chaos would unfold, that's for sure. If we look to the Dunwich Horror for an example of what could happen, it becomes apparent that all sorts of antisocial folks are born from him. Wilbur Whately appears human at first, but grows much faster than any other human. He also appears to have no problem sacrificing family members and is actively looking to bring forth some cosmic terrors through the door. Not necessarily the kind of person you want walking around in the waking civilized world. His brother, the thing in the barn, is more akin to a cosmic terror than Wilbur. Fed entire cows every day for months and growing to the size of a farmhouse, if left unchecked, this thing could have raised Dunwich in no time. Thankfully, some well-read and well-prepared scholars were there to stop it. One of the creature-fighting crew goes into shock while pursuing it, but they still get the job done. Nice. Good work, team. But the story took place in and around 1928. It was a lot easier to cover up stories back then, and information wasn't as readily available. If Sothoth was around these days pulling stunts like this, we'd be in for a lot of trouble. Firstly, a giant barn-sized creature would not go unnoticed. Somebody would snap a pic or record some video, and soon the whole world would be at attention. Some would try to debunk it, but others would be interested in the origins of such a creature. And off they would go, trying to find a way to summon a creature of their very own. It's likely they would succeed too. Wilbur would have likely taken his search for a Necronomicon to the internet, letting all sorts of interested folk know about the process itself. And seeing that Sothoth exists everywhere all at once, he would be able to accommodate all sorts of lunatics and occultists performing rituals and seeking forbidden knowledge. Soon enough, we'd be seeing a massive uptick in human sacrifice, minds being torn asunder, and barn-sized beasts rolling through small towns. Small towns would just be the beginning too. There aren't enough responsible scholars out there these days to take care of so many monstrosities. And even if they were, would they be well equipped enough? What would likely happen then is a massive conflict between Lovecraft-inspired lunatics and folks just trying to uphold the fabric of reality. Sothoth would continue to present effective ritualists with cosmic weapons while the whole world trembled. Eventually, other old ones would be summoned through the door, and the world would become a much slimier, more tentacly place. It's hard to predict what would happen next. Mass hysteria, widespread madness, the end of every recognizable thing on Earth? Who would be around to judge? What a world. And that about sums it up. If Sothoth was around today, word would get around quickly. All sorts of Dunwich horrors would crop up and the folks would pretty much go mad across the board. Then the world would be forever altered. Good luck to everyone out there. What do you think? Would it play out differently? Maybe someone would come up with a way to prevent the widespread lunacy. Or maybe it would be good for everyone, considering how crazy things seem these days anyway. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments.
Hello internet and welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions, the place where we whisper into the void while in his house at R'lyeh, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. As always, my name's Jack Finch and I'll be your guide through the cosmos as we carefully ask the question, what if Sothoth fought Azathoth?
The idea of being that sort of disembodied, floating eye which sees all manner of marvelous phenomena without being greatly affected by them.
The mythos of H.P. Lovecraft is a fantastically terrifying place, a true literary stomping ground where we as readers weave the very fabric of his own intended twisted cosmos. A combination of the strange and fantastic, of the abstract truth and scientific logic, and of the ancient and the permanent. Personally, if you're asking me, Lovecraft is one of the most important modern writers of the 20th century, a true master of gothic horror that has given birth to everything from The Thing to the entirety of Stephen King. So richly detailed is his horrifying multiverse that we thought we'd have to throw two of its most terrifyingly twisted cosmic entities into a ring and make them hypothetically battle it out to the death. Well, as dead as an all-powerful outer god can get, I guess. We have to first outline the parameters of an outer god and the very much malleable power that comes with being a cosmically significant entity. Generally speaking, an outer god is located beyond the confines of Earth and the wider solar system, where they exert their influence from the persistent mystery of deep space. They are not to be confused with the great old ones, unique, malignant beings of immense power that once presided over Earth as gods and rulers. In other words, Cthulhu and his gang are the thugs and the outer gods are La Cosa Nostra. It's an important distinction, else this battle would just be two giant tentacles fighting in an ancient temple. First stepping into the ring we have Azathoth, the blind idiot god, the nuclear chaos, the demon Sultan, the deep dark and the cold one. He is a creature of many names and many shimmering faces. In actuality, this flailing meatball is pretty hard to pin down, and there can be no definitive description of Azathoth because everybody envisions him differently and he's always changing. There's even an illusion that Azathoth is a supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy galaxy, otherwise known as Sagittarius A. According to the dreams in the Witch House, Azathoth sits on the throne at the center of ultimate chaos, where the thin flutes pipe mindlessly. He is an immortal primal horror, too horrible for description. He is omnipresent and possesses the power to warp reality itself. A pretty tough match then for our boy Yog-Sothoth, the Beyond One, the key and the gate, the lurker at the threshold. Well, kinda, because we've also got to lay down the fact that these guys are all part of the same messed up cosmic family. Picture it like an episode of Ricky Lake, then it's a little easier to visualize how this behemoth of a battle would actually go down. Yog-Sothoth is actually the grandchild of Azathoth, who was born of the nameless mist, an ancient outer god that emerged through Azathoth via cosmic fission. Pretty messed up, right? Although his appearance is ever changing through Lovecraftian fiction, it's generally agreed that Yog-Sothoth has a distinct style, a mass of glowing orbs with eyes and tendrils. The kicker though, it is heavily implied that Yog-Sothoth is omniscient and is locked outside of the universe, meaning he can know and see all of space-time all at once. There is absolutely no secret hidden from this guy. He's immortal, invulnerable, telepathic, non-corporeal, and generally a complete and utterly, hopelessly unstoppable enemy. So then you may ask the question, how the hell can these two immortal, omniscient entities battle one another? The short answer is they can't. Personally, or they wouldn't at least. It'd be like asking who would win in a scrap between oxygen and carbon dioxide, born from one another, unable to exist without each other, two components of the same whole. No, where the real conflict would occur would be their respective physical representations, those that worship them, who follow them in the vain hope that they won't just gobble their very essence and show them things that would induce incomprehensible madness. It'd be the same old story, my eldritch horror from outer space is more powerful than yours. Once again, humanity would get the wrong end of the stick. Yog-Sothoth actually has a pretty terrifying champion on his backbenches, the Dunwich Horror, aka Yog Whately, the inhuman child of Lavinia Whately, a human woman who summons Yog-Sothoth via the Necronomicon and ends up pregnant with twins. Yikes. The Dunwich Horror is a pretty gnarly guy and would be a formidable foe for anyone unless they had an anti-eldritch spell at hand. So then what does Azathoth have to throw at it? Well, probably his biggest fans are the Shagai, an alien race of pigeon-sized insects that burrow into the skulls and brains of all organic life, namely a small village called Goatswood, where the entire place is controlled by these parasitic little guys. The Shagai are fanatical worshippers of Azathoth that wish to eliminate all other deities, considering them to be inferior or false. So, under that assumption, it looks like we've got a bit of a fight on our hands. So, who would win out of the Dunwich Horror and the Shagai? The Shagai, of course, they're an entire race of technologically advanced interstellar travelers that can possess humanity to do its parasitic bidding. The poor old Dunwich Horror hasn't really got a chance. So, Azathoth champions wins, but neither of them can die, so no one's really a winner, but no one's really a loser, so I guess everyone's a winner? Well, I don't know, I'm surprised we've even got this far. Let us know what you think in the comment box down below. Are you a Lovecraftian fanatic? Would you like to be consumed by the great cosmic chaos? Speak your mind.
Both Yog-Sothoth and Cthulhu are mythical beings from the work of fiction Cthulhu Mythos by H.P. Lovecraft. They are both extremely powerful and both quite mysterious. One an all-seeing god, another a giant extraterrestrial with psychic powers. But what would happen if both of these beings battled it out for supremacy? Who would win? That's the question we're asking today on Life's Biggest Questions. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that occasionally likes to imagine what would happen if your favorite mythical creatures got in a fight. I'm your host, Charlotte Dobre. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us what topics you would like to see next in the comments down below. Before we can determine the outcome of a fight between Yog-Sothoth and Cthulhu, I'm going to have to briefly explain traits of both of these beings so that we're all on the same page. According to H.P. Lovecraft, the Yog-Sothoth is a powerful cosmic deity whose appearance is a conglomeration of glowing spheres. It is said that even looking at Yog-Sothoth or learning too much about it can drive mere humans to the brink of insanity, which is why physical descriptions of it are limited. Yog-Sothoth is quite possibly one of the most powerful of Lovecraft's deities, sometimes referred to as the Key and the Gate. It is an outer god, meaning it is a god to gods. Yog-Sothoth sees and knows all. It exists and has existed at all points in time in the multiverse. If you wish to please Yog-Sothoth, you would have to either offer it a human sacrifice or eternal servitude. It should also be noted that Yog-Sothoth dwells outside our reality and doesn't obey our laws of physics. For more information on Yog-Sothoth, I highly recommend you check out our video, What If Yog-Sothoth Was Real? Clickable on the screen right now. Now let's move on to Cthulhu, who is likely the most iconic being from the Cthulhu mythos. Cthulhu is the most powerful of the Great Old Ones. For those who are unfamiliar with the term, the Old Ones refers to a group of extraterrestrials that now lie dormant. Cthulhu is the great priest of this race, and he also once ruled the earth. That being said, Cthulhu is a child of gods, not an actual god. According to the Cthulhu mythos, the Great Old Ones are not the most powerful gods in existence. In terms of appearance, Cthulhu is a monster that's a cross between a man, an octopus, and a dragon. He has an octopus-like head, a base made up of scaly feelers, and is hundreds of meters tall. Like Yog-Sothoth, if a human even so much as looked at Cthulhu, they would go insane. Cthulhu also has impressive psychic abilities. He's extremely intelligent, and he also possesses the ability to invade dreams. If you're interested in hearing some more about Cthulhu, I highly recommend you check out our video, What If Cthulhu Was Real? Also clickable on the screen right now. So now that you know a little about each of them, let's explore what would happen if Yog-Sothoth and Cthulhu decided to battle it out. Even though Cthulhu is a very powerful monster, based on his descriptions, he doesn't have godlike strength, unlike Yog-Sothoth, who is said to be all-powerful. Lovecraft did create a hierarchy when it came to his entities. If it were a contest between two earthly beings, it would be somewhat of a fair fight. However, as I stated previously, Yog-Sothoth is an outer god. It dwells outside our reality. It sees everything, past, present, and future, and can also manipulate any place and time that it wishes. To Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth is God. If Cthulhu ever dared to take on Yog-Sothoth, Yog would know every move Cthulhu would make before he made it. He would know the outcome of the fight, like how he knows how the universe began and how it will end. Only an outer god could defeat another outer god like Yog-Sothoth. The outer gods include both Yog-Sothoth, Nyarlathotep, and Azathoth. They are so powerful that they literally do not care about earthly beings. We are like ants to them. Perhaps if Cthulhu sought the help of Azathoth, who is said to be the most powerful of the outer gods, he could defeat Yog-Sothoth. But that sounds like a topic for another Life's Biggest Questions, and frankly, I'm pretty tired of saying all these weird names. For now, I'm Charlotte Dobre, and you've been watching LBQ.